Hello and welcome to Washington Live. I'm your host, Greta Clemens, and we are back for another Washington episode of Washington Live. And I am joined in the studio with Alex. How are you?
Here. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
How has your week been?
It's been good. It's been good. Second or third week of morning breath, so that's been fun.
Yeah.
And third week of this new Washington Live. So
yeah,
we have a pretty
rolling.
Really interesting guest today, so it's exciting.
Yeah, we were just talking with her before we got started here, and we have lots to share. We are also joined in the studio today with Kathleen Almelien. You may know her around Washington with a sketchbook, and she is a board member of Art Domestique, and she's here to talk to us a little bit today about herself and Art Domestique, and just give a little insight of what's going on. So welcome to Washington Live. We're excited to have you.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, so why don't you give us just like a brief introduction about yourself?
Grew up in Iowa, but western Iowa.
Where in western Iowa?
A little town called West Side.
Oh, okay.
And it's between Carroll and Denison on Highway 30 prior to 80. So what that meant was when I took driver's training, there would be 30 minutes before I could pull onto the road.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Went to Iowa State and then a teaching assistantship in Tennessee, at the University of Tennessee.
Very cool.
So I was an assistant in the art department, and when I came back, I came to southeast Iowa because of a marriage, and I have been an art educator for 44 years and got to finally graduate from high school. And my second life has been here in Washington with my husband, Jim, and my family. And we came in the 80s.
Nice.
Looked at houses and found a historic house that I dearly love. It's called the Sowash House, or sometimes called the Shannon House. It's where the editor of the Journal used to live.
Oh, very cool. Very fitting then that you're here today.
Yes. Well, you asked about Art Domestique and how do you say it. Domestique is a French word, and what it is, French have a lot of bicycles and bicycle races, and so they have groups that help the leader, and they're called the domestiques. And they start off very strong in the race so that the leader can then pass and finish the race. A domestique is also the second line of horses after the leaders. So if you think of the Budweiser wagon, you have the leaders, but the second ones, which are the strongest, are the domestiques.
Oh, wow.
So our owner and patron is a bicycle rider. And so that was named prior to us starting.
Gotcha. Well, that's very cool. I never would have guessed that's where that came from. So
you're speaking French today.
Speaking French, you don't even know it. Very cool.
Well, Art Domestique is a not-for-profit gallery. We have featured artists, and we have board member artists, and we have memberships. Right now, we are sponsoring the member show. And so for a fee of a membership, you can come and you can put up your artwork, and then it is judged. And then we have the show, and the receptions are always the most fun because you get to visit with the artist that is up. We also are participating in the fiber crawl. We have 2 quilt artists up right now.
And that's fiber.
Okay. Yes.
I'm not super into art, so I'm not well knowledged in art, so that's a new term, fiber.
Fiber is it's not necessarily on canvas, but it can take shape on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Or it can take shape on the bed, or it can take shape on the table. Cool. You can do a lot of things with fiber.
So you have the fiber, you said this to me earlier.
The
Fiber's February. Kind of a tongue twister going on right now.
That is sponsored by the Washington Public Library.
Okay.
And we have had phenomenal. We had an artist from Minnesota that came down. He gave a talk about this is not your grandmother's quilt. And what he does is he recycles plastic.
Oh.
And the pieces up right now are just breathtaking. The one that I liked because of the play on plastic and everything was called Discard. And it was a heart, a diamond, a spade, and a club. But the discard was the plastic, and he used it in a different way rather than threw it in the landfill. Oh. And the show is going to be up till the end of February.
So end of February, so about another weekish. I don't even know what today is.
Today's the 18th. So
yeah, about another week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to check out some fiber art in the discard, that's at the public library.
Right.
And you can see it anytime they're open.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then the workshops that I've been to have included embellishment, where they took an old T-shirt and then embellished it with bangles and stitches so that it gave it new life. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of a recycling of what you think you need to throw away versus what you could do to make it alive again, and you would wear it again.
Very cool.
Then Saturday, I also went to a Saori weaving, and that was on a loom, and each one of us had a loom, and we just had a multitude of fibers that we fussed with and wove with, and then took it off the loom, and it's a piece about the size of maybe 8 by 12 that we worked with. And there were 8 of us in the shop, in the gallery, so it was really fun to work with.
And this was at Art Domestique?
This was at Art Domestique.
So Art Domestique does have classes you can take?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
There are many different classes that you can take. We have famous artists that come and give workshop. We have local artists that have openings. Art Domestique is open on Wednesday through Friday, and then sometimes Saturdays. And if you'd call, I'd run up and open it for you if you're in town. But on Tuesdays, there is an open studio where if you have a project, go in and talk to Mike and Joanne and visit with what you're doing. And then I give a sketch club every other Wednesday night from 5:30 to 7, and we draw. We have just a little bit of a class or a little bit of a lesson, and then we try and use that lesson in an object or in something that we're drawing.
Very cool. So can anyone come to these?
Yes,
even if
they can.
You cannot draw like myself? Or?
I have beginners, and I have people who are professionals and people who are just interested. It's a community. There's a no judgment segment.
Good, because mine would not be very good. But and are these free? Do they cost?
They have a cost.
Okay.
My sketch club costs $15 an evening, and that's to help with the electricity and the heat in the building.
Yeah. Do all the classes cost something?
Usually.
Yeah. And where could people find this information if they wanted
There
to see
is a website.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes, we roll a website that tells all about the featured artists and about the different things that are going on at Columbus or at Art Domestique.
Yeah, awesome. Sorry, I kind of cut you off from your list of workshops and things going on. So what else is going on?
Well, in June, on the 7th, 8th, and 9th, we have our annual plein air. And plein air, French again, an annual plein air, and that means painting in the air.
Oh. That makes sense. That sounds like what it means.
And and we have a limit of 22 artists that can come and paint Washington during that time. And then on Sunday, they bring in their things that they've done, and everything is for sale if it hasn't sold on the easel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's just really a delightful reunion of creativity.
Yeah, that sounds very cool.
This year we're having the Budding Artist Show. And the Budding Artist Show is 7th through 12th grade artists that are in the classroom can check out the profession of being an artist by going through the rigors of applying, and then their artwork is put up for the 6 weeks. Each featured show is 6 weeks long. Then the artist that I'm communicating with yet this morning is Troy Tadlock, and he's from Wisconsin, and he's going to come down. He's going to give a workshop, maybe a demonstration, and there's always a reception to meet the artist, and that's kind of the fun thing, to meet the artist also.
So you can come, have a workshop, get a lesson, check out their artwork, and have a little reception. And
yes.
Have snacks and
oh, sure.
Okay.
We're noted for good food.
Good, yeah.
That's why I'm shaped this way.
That sounds awesome. Okay, cool. And he's coming soon?
He'll be here May 1st through June 15th. Everything is 6 weeks.
Okay.
Then we have Jeff Allen coming from Solon, Iowa, and he will be a featured artist. And then Anna Lee is coming yet this year, and then Robert Richardson. And then at the end of the year, in November and December, we have a small work show. And for a fee, you can bring up a piece of artwork that is as small as 12 by 12. It has to be 12 by 12 framed or smaller. And then that's up, and it fills the gallery.
Yeah, I bet that's cool.
Yeah.
So we keep saying artwork, so I just want to clarify. Is it different types of artwork?
Oh,
or
yes.
I know we've talked about fibers, and we are saying artwork. I know that's kind of a broad term. So what kind of?
Well, you can come up and find pastel. You can come up and find watercolor. There's oil paintings. There is quilting. There is sculpture. There is clay. Oh, my.
Photography.
Photography,
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, photography. Photography had their own show in January.
Okay. So all types of artwork.
All
so not just
types.
paintings, not just
No.
fibers, any type.
Any type.
Very cool.
And any size, especially photography. If you like this little picture, they can make it big.
Yeah. And I know you guys have, I was in there not too long ago, and I know you guys have some really cool postcards.
Yes.
So if you ever need a postcard, especially if you're visiting and like to send, you were in Washington, you guys have some really cool ones.
Most of the cards are reproductions of pieces of artwork.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
It's very cool. Yeah, I thought those were really neat. Awesome. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll learn a little bit more about things going on at Art Domestique and speak with Kathleen some more.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
All right, and welcome back to Washington Live. I didn't say it when we started the show, but we are powered by KCTC. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
And we are joined here. Many of you guys may know her around town as having a sketchbook and drawing the sounds of Washington. But we are joined with Kathleen Almelien from Art Domestique. And she is widely known for her painting of pastels, I will say. But she also just went on a trip that I would like her to talk about, to where she did Norwegian band weaving. So I might be saying that wrong, but
We'll try and fix that.
yeah, I'll have her fix it. But yeah, I would like for her to talk about that. So
Well, Jim and I, my husband Jim and I, have celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary.
congratulations. That's awesome.
And when I went to visit his family, I was just blown away at the fish that tasted like Jell-O, which is lutefisk, and the potato pancake, which is lefse. And so I have been in a dig into the culture that they came from in Norway. I traveled in 2016, and I was to Norway with Jim and his family, and I noticed a beautiful modern sculpture, and I was really intrigued with that. And when I went around the corner, I discovered that she was weaving on it. It was a loom of some kind. So in researching the vertical loom, I fell in love with the idea of making this rope so beautiful that it was enjoyable to celebrate. When I was at the end of that trip, I told Jim the only thing I wished I would have done was investigate how I could get one. The guide came over and said, well, I'll be here in August again. If you can get it to Oslo, I could pick it up from this hotel. And through Angels, I got the loom.
Oh, very cool.
And so this is the only loom on this continent that is in this shape. And I have been working at trying to figure out how to use it. So it sat on my dining room table, and I was messing around with the yarns because I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I bought a book.
Yeah.
And I read the book. Oh, too much information. So I Googled the author and discovered that, yes, she was from Wyoming, but she was giving a workshop in Decorah, Iowa.
Oh, perfect.
So I called up and said, I want to be in this workshop. He said, well, you're 5th on the list of waiting list. And I go, no!
I have to get in.
Well, I did get in. And I learned how to do the 2 types of weaving that the Norwegians are known for. And this is called backstrap looms. So you put your loom around you, and then you tie it to the bedpost, and you work in front of you. But if the potatoes start boiling over everything, you have to get out of it, and then you have to...
so make sure you're not cooking.
Yes. Let alone... yeah, so it's kind of wild. So from that band weaving, this loom was modified so that people could get out of it and then go back into it. Okay. And so it is a weaving that has all sorts of emojis on it. So then I did a deep dive into the emojis and what those patterns meant. And I have a YouTube from Vesterheim YouTube called Emojis in Handcrafts that is worth looking at if you're interested in knowing why the diamonds are important, knowing why all of these things are important, because they all have a meaning. Okay, so in learning how to do this and COVID coming on, I decided I'd really learn how to do this.
Might as well.
And so I have participated in the international or the national Norwegian weaving or national handcrafts of Vesterheim Museum in Decorah and have won awards. So at this point, I'm 3 points away from becoming a medalist in weaving. Very and cool. I have my 2 pieces ready to go for this year.
That's awesome.
So I do want to become a medal winner in weaving.
Very cool. I didn't even know you could do such a thing.
Yes, yes, you can.
Very cool. Well, that sounds really pretty and very cool. I'm trying to picture what this looks like, but I can't. Are you going to be able? Do you ever show off your work, or?
I have had a display in the library for last year's Fiber Arts.
Oh, okay.
And I currently have a piece at Art Domestique in the member show that I am showing. The one in the member show is a piece that is an ode to the burial ship, the Osborne burial ship of 800 AD, and it was a burial ship of a female warrior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cool. So it is protection. It would be put around your waist. After you weave cloth, putting buttons in it is really hard when you cut a hole in something you wove it. So a lot of the things like the pins and things are to keep are buttons. Mm-hmm. They keep your things closed. Your clothes closed. Or you could have animal wraps, and then you would put it around you, and this would tie it. So they're a fancy rope.
Gotcha. Okay. So if you're interested in seeing it, you have one set up right now in Art Domestique.
Yes.
So you can stop by there Wednesday through Friday and
Right.
check it out.
Right.
Very cool. You also did some other things while you were away that you will be showing off next month.
Yes, I'm going to be giving an armchair travelogue on March 12th and March 19th. We went this year for our 50th wedding anniversary present. We went for the month of June.
Yeah.
And so I came home with too many photographs. And I put them together in a story. And I'm going to be presenting Norway by land on March the 12th and Norway by sea on March the 19th. And you don't have to go to both of them. You can go to one and or you can go to the other. They will overlap just a little bit, but I think they'll be fun to share.
Cool. Yeah, and will you be there?
Oh, I'm the speaker.
You speak. Okay, so there's you're speaking, and your pictures are out, and
Yeah.
and you'll show them. Oopsies, and you'll show them as
Yes.
very cool.
And then I have some photo enlargements. Jim's family came from Telemark, Norway, and they came over in 1901. They were supposed to be Olsons. They came to Norway through Quebec and then got on the rail and went to Hanlantown, Iowa. But the person at the doorway in Quebec said, "No more sons, no more sons." And so a trunk was the only thing they had left that was written down that he would look at. And so he said, "Oh, this is your farm. I'll just add some E's and I's and make it look English." And so that's where the name came from. So if there is an Almelien, we're related because of this man who decided no more Olsons.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, they can just make up rules like that. Very
Yes.
cool. So if you want to check out Kathleen's Norway by land or Norway by sea or both, they'll be at the public library on March 12th and March 19th
At 2 o'clock.
2 p.m.
Yes.
So stop by there and see her and her beautiful photographs.
Yes. In slides.
In slides, yes. So Art Domestique is very busy. Always things going on. So another thing happening you mentioned was the quilt crawl.
The quilt crawl is organized by Fibers February by the Washington Library. And the crawl is people who have brought in family quilts or quilts they have made, and they're going to be exhibited at the Presbyterian Church, at Art Domestique, and in the library itself. And so it will be actively walking and looking at the craftsmanship and the beauty of the pieces of fiber.
Very cool. And is this over an extended period of time, or is it just one day? Or
I think it's one
day?
Weekend.
A weekend, okay.
I think it is.
Okay.
But again, go to the Facebook page of the public library and get more information.
Okay. It'd be on there.
Yes.
Awesome.
And if you want to look at my work, I am on Facebook under Almelien Studio.
Okay.
And
We'll
if you,
tag them below so you can just easily watch this and then click on it. And then,
okay.
Yeah.
And if you would like to check out what's happening at Art Domestique, you can go to their website or their Facebook.
Okay.
And Facebook announces the sketch club this Wednesday. I mean, it tries to...
It keeps everybody up to date what shows are coming, what
Right.
workshops,
Right.
what artists I'm sure are
Yes.
showcasing and things like
Yes.
that. So the quilt crawl kind of wraps up Fibers February.
There's also another speaking part of it coming from the fiber design of Iowa State, and they're coming down and talking about how the cloth is made, what happens to and designing.
Awesome. Sounds like there's a lot of exciting things yet to end out the month of February.
Correct.
Fibers February. So if you want to check out Iowa State talking about the cloth, the quilt crawl, and then beginning of March, you can come see Kathleen in her Norway by Land, Norway by Sea, and I'm sure there's a plenty of other things that Art Domestique is doing as well. We will put the Facebook page and website and Kathleen's Facebook page below if you want to check out any more of her work or learn more about Art Domestique and the upcoming events. But other than that, is there anything else?
I think we've talked about lots of things.
We've talked about a lot. We've learned French, and I've learned a lot. I'm not well versed in artwork, so this was very interesting.
Excellent.
To me. So,
excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for joining Washington Live, and thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week.